Compton, correct?
That's what we originally heard the call. We were over downtown L.A. At the teachers' rally when they called and said that there was a carjacking suspect in a gray Kia heading through Compton off of Wilmington. He eventually got on the 105 freeway and headed east and got off at Long Beach Boulevard. But I've been so tight on the shot here, I haven't kept up with exactly where he is. But it looks like he's right
Alameda corridor.
He's on the Alameda corridor right now.
We have Rick Dickard here as well, chiming in also. So, Rick, you believe this is the Alameda corridor?
Yeah, that's Alameda there, and Vince is tracking that. And Vince is a pursuit going north or south down the corridor there?
It looks, which way is it going, Adam? It's going southbound right now. Okay, now he just turned off.
Make the turn. So, dangerous situation for a number of reasons. Obviously, you see the wet pavement. Rain has been falling all morning long here in Southern California. And this guy wants to get away. You know, a carjacking suspect here. We're unclear if he has any other wants or warrants, but a dangerous individual. And this is an area that is highly congested. You could see it's an industrial area. There's a lot of big rig traffic, a lot of automotive traffic as well, sort of a mixed residential industrial area. So L.A. County Sheriff's Department, each agency handles this differently in terms of how they want to handle a pursuit. The first thing, they want to make sure that no innocent bystanders get hurt, and they try to do whatever they can to make that happen. Unfortunately, when it's on surface streets like this and the erratic driving behavior of these suspects makes that difficult. They want to terminate this as quickly as possible with nobody getting injured. And if they have that opportunity to pit this vehicle, although it's going much too quickly at this time, again, you want to have speeds down under 30 miles an hour, 35 miles an hour or so they can spin him out. But in doing so, in an area like this, you got to make sure that you're not going to endanger anybody else on this wet day, which makes it even more challenging.
How wet it is out there just with the tire streaks through the water, how much more dangerous this is because it is raining. And you could see a number of cruisers just chasing right behind this guy. Again, this started in Compton as a carjacking. That's a 2000 Kia. And a number of cruisers pursuing him right now. And we saw just a few minutes ago, he blew through an intersection. He did not have the right of way. It looks like he's about to do so right now again. Police, of course, being a bit more cautious as they go through the intersection.
And a lot of time officers will try if they can, because this is an all call. Any agency that is nearby will aid in this pursuit to make sure that they protect those intersections. In fact, as we come into frame on some of those, you will see officers positioning themselves, holding traffic back to prevent anybody from getting hurt. This is primarily, it appears to be just on surface streets thus far, but you can see the rain is picking up, very slick conditions, which makes it that more challenging. Although we do see officers from all over Southern California trained. Now, there is a facility off the 5 and the 405, the north end of the San Fernando Valley, near the L.A. Reservoir, where they train for pursuits. And you see these mock pursuits. And what they do during some of those training exercises is they wet down the asphalt so that officers know what they're going to be dealing with when conditions are like they are on this wet Monday morning here in Southern California.
And will the procedure be different, or will it still be a pit maneuver?
They would still try a pit maneuver, obviously, if it's safe, because you see all these other vehicles up ahead. And when you have congestion like this, Vanessa, it makes it that much more challenging. But if they get an open road up ahead, if they're able to hold traffic back, which we've seen lately with a couple of these pursuits, and we don't see any other vehicles like right there, that stretch right there, if that vehicle was to slow enough, they could get up on it, try to tap it, spin it out, disable it in any way they can to bring this to an end. Because this is a dangerous situation, running through red lights, through stoplights, high speeds, the rain as well. And this is an area that I said is mixed. It's a mixed industrial area. The railway, the corridor there, right up through the heart of the L.A. basin here. And it looks like they're back at that Alameda corridor now.
And we're also hearing that this did start as a carjacking, but he or she may have used a firearm during that carjacking. So, of course, worrisome situation now for officers once they do try to stop this suspect, or once they are able to, that he may or may not have a firearm as well.
And let's try to get a location update from Vince up there in Skyfox. Vince, what's the direction now, and what community?
We're still southbound, and we're down here in this highly industrialized area. This is part of the train yards down here that is part of the Alameda corridor, and I believe he's still on Alameda down here. But this is now, as you can see from the shot, it's all train yards, semis.
So heading towards Wilmington, the harbor area, would you say at this time?
Yeah, right. They're heading southbound. They're heading southbound, down toward the Wilmington and Long Beach area.
And now that area, as Vince just said, you could see the train yard there and all the tractor-trailer traffic from that area coming in and out of the harbor, and those containers on those railways coming up from the harbor area as well. So now perhaps, you know, if there isn't as much volume, they'll get a chance to do something. But he may become disabled on his own, Vanessa, and that he's moving at such a high rate of speed. And with slick conditions like that, you can hydroplane and spin out so easily.
Taking any one of those turns, he could hydroplane. And you could see the radar on the right hand of your screen. It is pouring throughout Southern California, including the Alameda corridor, where we're seeing this chase happening right now. If you're just joining us, police are in pursuit of a carjacking suspect, possibly used a firearm in that carjacking. We have Vince Mack and Rick Dickert here as well. So what are you seeing right now, Rick? What is the possibility that they're going to be able to stop this guy?
It looks like that one officer, if we pan the camera just a little bit to the right, that one officer is coming up a little bit quicker than what we've seen. So perhaps they're looking to have that opportunity to just tap him on the back end, that pursuit intervention technique, which we see also often with these pursuits, to disable these vehicles, spin them out. But then they're in a situation where, if it's accurate that this suspect has a firearm, that makes it even more dangerous once it comes to an end, that he may want to use that weapon, and that's when officers are really challenged here. Again, the most important thing is trying to keep everybody safe at this time as this pursuit continues on surface streets here through that Alameda corridor area, from Southgate down to Compton, now down into Wilmington. But it looks like he did a 180, and he may very well be going north again. Vince, is that the direction?
I believe he's going westbound right now, and he was on Del Amo, and now he's going northbound. Okay. And I'm not exactly sure what street that is.
Ponding of water there. You just saw him just go through a big. These intersections are filling up quickly. There's an L.A. County Sheriff's helicopter watching all this from above. Now, some agencies, if it becomes so dangerous, because as I keep mentioning, that they want to keep the general public safe. And if a suspect is driving so erratically and putting the general public at risk, they will back off. The units on the ground will back off, and they will continue to track the suspect from the air. And that's what they're doing with that L.A. County helicopter. And how's the weather right now, Vince? Is the ceiling lowered from earlier this morning?
Yes, it is. When we took off out of Van Nuys about 45 minutes ago, it was really coming down out there. And the sky here, the visibility is about 2 miles at the best.
Yeah, with that moderate rain
and showers.
And as you can see, the radar, Vanessa, in the lower right corner, wherever you see the oranges and the yellows and the reds, that's indicative of the heavier precipitation, the greater reflectivity off those Doppler radars. And it looks like a good band of at least moderate rain is moving through this area where this pursuit has been taking place. And it does appear, which is typical, the suspects kind of staying in the same area. We see that a lot as well because they're perhaps familiar with the area. They know the streets, and that may give them an opportunity to get away.
And we're seeing him weaving in and out of these trucks and these other vehicles. It looks like a residential area at some points as well. So this is a very dangerous situation. And as you know, when you're driving in the rain, I'm sure from personal experience, once you go through that ponding that you cannot tell from a distance, and clearly he's certainly not going to be able to tell the kind of ponding on the roadway since he's really booking it through these streets. At any point, you could spin out.
You can see it right there. You could see he's hitting the water at a really high rate of speed. And as I always mentioned during my traffic reports up in Skyfox, that you can hydroplane at speeds of 35, 40, 45 miles an hour on the freeway, and he's going much quicker than that at times through these areas. And it's at those intersections typically where water ponds on the surface streets. It's in the outer lanes on the freeway, but at intersections, that's where water typically drains down, and he will encounter some of that and could very well lose control. All right, a lot more congestion here. Was that Wilmington Avenue he was on there, Vince?
Yes, it's Wilmington Avenue, and he just crossed the 105. He's coming back into Compton from the south right now. This obviously is an area, this is where this pursuit originated, and it sounds and looks like this is someone who is very familiar with this area.
Yeah, we see this time and time again, as I had just mentioned. It looked like he was kind of doing circles. He hasn't gotten on the freeway that we know of yet. We don't know if anybody has been injured in the initial incident, the carjacking incident, but we do know that a firearm was used, and not only will that crime be racked up on this suspect, but all the vehicular violations that are adding up as well.
And
again, L.A. County Sheriff's in pursuit.
Right, and we're also learning, Rick, right now, L.A. County saying this carjacking occurred a few days ago on January 12th, and this morning is when officers spotted that car and then pursued this suspect.
Wow, so he, a couple days ago, and he stayed in the neighborhood, and he just continued on his way in the vehicle, and now they've caught up with him, and he's on the run, and everybody asks, why do they run? Well, they're not in custody, and there's always a chance that they can get away, and at times they do. All right, pulling into a parking lot here. Let's see what he's doing here. And you can see all the pedestrians there. Oh, really dangerous situation. Nearly missing one. He was using that parking lot on the corner there, the Dollar Tree store there, to make his way over to the next street. So this is a time now where they really have to think about what they're going to do to bring this to a safe conclusion, because he's putting a lot of people at risk, driving recklessly in horrible conditions out there. The wet weather, the visibility is down as well. You could see it on the lens there from Skyfox across the center divider, making a left turn. And here we go. Let's see if he tries to pit him here. He's slowing down a little bit, and there isn't much traffic ahead, but now he's pulling into a gated area, it looks like. Let's see what happens here. That gate is open. Maybe he knows this facility. I don't know if it's a residential area or not, but he is definitely slowed down at this time. And this would be a time where, if there is a chance, if there's nobody else nearby, they could
and it does look, like a residential area. So we're seeing a parking lot, and he's just going right over speed bumps. Police right after him. So hopefully this comes to a safe end, and they could stop him within this parking lot.
And there may be a reason why he's here. He may be close to a location that he is connected with, a friend or a family member of some sort. Again, the pursuit, as Vince said, pretty much back into the same area where it started. There's somebody there, looks like just somebody filming with their phone, but slowed down considerably. Not clear if the vehicle has been disabled at all, maybe running out of gas. We saw the one pursuit that made its way down into San Diego County, and because of that fact, making a U-turn. Wow, let's see what happens here. And he just completely evaded all of those sheriff's deputies, now ripping back in a different direction. And they had a chance over the speed bumps.
And now he's going and speeding up again in this area.
And let's see if there's any other deputies that were. No, now he's going back right where he came from. Wow, he evaded all of those L.A. County Sheriff's deputies.
It certainly seems like he knows where he is right now, that he's familiar with that neighborhood, considering he was able to circle around, knew that they would follow him, and now he's exiting out of that gate.
What a bold move that was, just doing a 180 in that narrow area. And all those sheriff's deputies, those vehicles there you saw, Vanessa, all lined up in one way. And hey, he said, whoop, I got a free go here. And sure enough, he made it. But that L.A. County Sheriff's helicopter is watching his every move from above and directing officers. You saw a unit right there, directing all of the officers that are involved in this. There could be some other agencies as well, some nearby jurisdictions, including the L.A. County Sheriff's Department. They're the ones who initiated the pursuit. They're the lead on this. Again, a carjacking suspect, if you're just tuning in, being pursued here through the Compton area, down into Wilmington, primarily around the Alameda corridor. Now he's coming to a stop. He's obeying that stoplight. What do you say?
Yeah, of course. I mean, he's evaded a number of stoplights. At one point, we almost saw him hit somebody, but look at that. He's actually stopping here.
And the officers stop and they open the door, but then he just continues on his way. And you could see some other units there at the intersection. And again, that helicopter is helping out as well.
And it's that continued cat and mouse situation that we always see during these pursuits. They stop, the officers get out, and then they take off once again.
Yeah, and again, being with the condition, look at how many units are tracking him now. Wow, I count perhaps 10 or more. Primarily from the L.A. County Sheriff's Department. What do you see from up there right now, Vince?
Well, right now we're seeing just a gaggle of Sheriff's Department vehicles. We also heard from the Sheriff's Department helicopter that they were going to back off a little bit. It was getting a little too dangerous here on the local streets.
Yeah,
and they have backed way off. They're kind of in a surveillance mode right now. They won't get away from the helicopter, but to take the pressure off that individual, they're kind of backing away a little bit.
And so interesting to see that now he's abiding by all the traffic rules of the road. He's got a red light and he stopped there. And he's got to see some of those units in the back. They're not far enough back that he doesn't know that he's still being trailed at this time. But there they all are. Look at them. Wow. So
and the scary situation here, which could be a reason why they are so far away from the suspect, is that we're also hearing this carjacking. He may have used a firearm. So he may be armed in this situation, and they're trying to stay back and stay as safe as possible as well.
Yeah, armed and dangerous. This suspect, carjacking, a violent crime. At this intersection here, what's the location, Vince?
Well, we're still on Wilmington Avenue. We're just about 2 blocks north of the Compton Airport right now.
So is he heading? So he's heading southbound on Wilmington?
No, I believe he's heading northbound here.
He's heading back northbound. Okay. Again, he made a complete stop at that light, sat there for a couple minutes, and is on his way. And now it has really backed off on speed, but you could see the units. Yeah, they're in more of a surveillance mode, it appears, because those units, and there is the surveillance mode right there. That helicopter, that L.A. County airship circling and watching him overhead. Perhaps he feels he may have been able to evade those deputy sheriffs behind him. Rain continues to fall moderately, but he's backed off on his speed. He's stopping at the lights now, and we'll see how this goes.
And again, this all started in Compton. It was a carjacking suspect. Now we're hearing from L.A. County that carjacking occurred on January 12th. And then it was this morning that they spotted the car and started pursuing this suspect. He took off, and we've been seeing him through the streets, beginning in Compton, through the Alameda corridor. And we even saw him go through a gated community as well, and was able to evade these officers. And
primarily staying in the same area, in and around Compton, that he very may well be familiar with. That's where they picked this suspect up. The alleged carjacking having occurred a few days ago, but they finally were able to spot the vehicle. They lit him up, and the pursuit was on, and he is being chased by, at least from a distance now, by a number of L.A. County Sheriff's deputy units, as well as that L.A. County airship that's circling overhead as well. Rain continues to fall, and this is a mixed area as well. It looks to be industrial and residential. But the good news is, Vanessa and Vince, is that he's backed off on his speed. He's not driving as erratically as we saw earlier. He is abiding by the stoplights and the stop signs at this time, and they're still going to watch him from above.
And you can see how dangerous it is just from the view that we're seeing from Skyfox, the droplets on the lens as well. It is raining out there, not hard, luckily, but we are seeing ponding as well. And he's been just flying through ponds of water on the streets, which he could really just spin out at any moment.
And narrowly missing those pedestrians in that little mini mall in the corner when you decided to pull in to use that as a way to make a transition to another surface street. And you can see the backyards of homes. So again, a residential area. And we'll see what he does here. If he feels that those officers, those deputy sheriffs have backed off enough that he can try to ditch. But
the psychology behind this is so interesting, considering he was going so fast, speeding through intersections. Then he decided to go into a supermarket, a dollar store, I believe it was, parking lot. Then he went into a gated community, and now he's back into these residential streets and going the speed limit and abiding by traffic lights.
And those deputy sheriffs are a good block away from the suspect. You could see them back there, about 4 or 5 of them. And he's sitting there in the right lane, decides to continue on and make his way.
And what would be the deciding factor as to they were chasing him so diligently earlier, so close to him as well, and now they're so far back from the car?
Again, it was the lead commander who in this pursuit, and he saw that the risk was so intense to the public, especially going through that parking lot, that he decided to pull his units back, watch from the air. They know the vehicle. It seems like he's staying in the same general area, and instead of endangering innocent lives, as he was, ripping through those intersections, ponding of water, ripping through those red lights, that they would back off, and hopefully his demeanor would change. And it has. He's definitely slowed down. He's stopping at all the lights now, and at this point now, they're going to track it from above and still have those units on the ground, but at a safe enough distance that they're going to keep hopefully his level, his energy level down a little bit, and that's what we're seeing, thankfully.
And Vince, have you been able to get any cross streets and see exactly what intersections he is crossing through to give the public a little bit more information?
We noticed he just turned off of Rosecrans, and I'm not exactly sure what direction we're going. Adam, do you know, east or west? My pilot's talking to the other pilots here, so. Okay, it's down here near Hawthorne right now, so we're being restricted as to what airspace we can fly in because of the weather right now. So we'll try to keep an eye on him right here, but the police, the sheriff's department has packed off at least a block, at least a block.
There's all those units on the ground. And the sheriff's airship, though, is still up there, close by, though, Vince, with you guys?
Yes, he's down low here, circling around the area.
Again, you see the suspect stopping at the light, waiting, not rushing through, not even essentially waiting to make sure the traffic is clear and then going through the red light. He's waiting for his green light, and perhaps he feels that he's okay. He's on Central right now, making his way through the communities of Compton, South L.A., now, as Vince said, into the Hawthorne area if Skyfox is communicating with the control tower at Hawthorne Airport, meaning he'd probably be heading in a westbound direction. If he's on Central, though, it's either north or south.
And we're still seeing that rain falling, a light rain, but it's still slick streets. And that's the dangerous part here, is that at any moment he could spin out if he just drives right into a pond of water. And we've seen him do that, or take any of these sharp turns that he's been taking.
And it looks like he is picking up speed again. Let's see, he stops at the light, though. And yeah, he's going to hold at that light as well. And he's on Central Avenue. And Central is a north-south street. So we'll try to find out from Vince. Is he heading north or south on Central right now?
I believe he's heading to the north.
Yeah.
Okay. Heading north on Central. So he's on
And
Central and El Segundo. So he's south of the 105 freeway at this time still.
That's correct.
So he's going to be heading up towards the 105 on Central. And coming from the Compton area, again, Vanessa, he stayed in the same general vicinity, familiar with the vicinity perhaps. This is where this all started. And we don't know where the carjacking took place, if it did, because it was a couple days ago, if it took place in the Compton area as well. But that happened a couple days ago, and they were just able to catch up with the suspect now. Again, a different story than what we saw, several minutes ago when this suspect was ripping through intersections with red lights, narrowly missing vehicles, and narrowly missing pedestrians as well, at least in that one parking lot.
And we're hearing also he may have gone over a spike strip. Did you see at any point any officers throw down a spike strip?
I didn't see anything. Did you,
Yeah,
Vince?
I didn't either.
No, but you know what? When he went through that gated community, he drove backwards. He went through the outlane where they have those spikes that stick out of the ground, that you can't back up or go through. So, and he seems to have slowed down after driving over those.
But he's still moving at a good clip down Central here, still on Central Avenue, waiting at the light here, heading northbound, coming up towards the 105 freeway. And we'll see if he chooses to get on a freeway finally. He has chosen not to thus far. But you can see a lot of traffic there on this wet Monday late morning here in Southern California. And the radar continues to show that stream of moisture heading northbound into the basin here, where this pursuit has been ongoing now for the better part of a half hour, if not longer.
And luckily he's been slowing down, as you mentioned, Rick, because at one point we saw him going extremely fast. They were clocking him at 60, 70 miles per hour at one point.
On surface streets, yeah.
Right, on surface streets,
with
exactly.
With wet conditions, because the hydroplaning can occur depending upon the tread on your tire, how deep that water is, how long that ponding of water is. It can happen rather quickly and cause motorists some problems. And perhaps those sheriff's deputies were hoping for that. Maybe it would be a rain-related pit maneuver in that the wet conditions would disable the vehicle. Not the case. He's continuing on, and again, those deputy sheriffs have really backed off. And in doing so, the level of intensity, at least with the driver, the suspect, the alleged carjacking suspect, has backed off as well. He's moving at a good clip. It's unlikely that his tires were seriously disabled, but we've seen that happen before, where they continue on and then all of a sudden you do see that there's an issue with the vehicle. But at this time, he's continuing on his way, and it looks like Central coming up on the 105 now, Vince?
That's right. Here it is right here. He's going under the 105 right there.
Okay, so you guys are heading northbound up Central. Central is really a Central Avenue right through the heart of the basin, up towards downtown Los Angeles, a major north-south thoroughfare like Main Street.
Now he's getting on the freeway.
Oh, he is going to get on the freeway now. There he is. Yep, this is the first time. So it looks like he's going to be heading westbound then on the 105, or eastbound? Looks to be west.
I'm so disoriented because I can't see shadows. He's westbound right now.
Yeah, it looks like he's heading westbound. So then he's going to be heading towards Hawthorne, Athens, the Inglewood area if he chooses to stay on the freeway. And we'll see. It'll be interesting to see if any of the deputy sheriffs follow him. And I know as you guys track westbound, you're going to be limited. Your airspace will provide you guys some challenges with both Hawthorne and LAX, being that the conditions there, the visibility's down, the ceiling's down, and that limits our ability to fly through that airspace. Even on days when the weather's clear, there are times when we can't we can't track these because of that airspace, giving those commercial aircraft plenty of space to make their way in and out of the nation's second busiest airport. You can see.
And it seems like he's going slower than the actual speed limit as well, which is pretty on par with everything he's been doing the last, 10 minutes or so. He's been going at a slow pace. He really hasn't been picking up speed in the last 10, 15 minutes that we've been watching this chase.
And staying in the slower lanes, the right lanes there, but definitely at or below the general flow of traffic. The volume looks light there now. That westbound 105 is always incredibly busy during the morning rush. We show it to you so often from up in Skyfox during Good Day LA, but at this time the volume has backed off. He's got an open freeway here, and it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, in that if they're just going to continue to track it from the air, and if there's deputies following. Here is a transition, I believe, with the 110 freeway, Vince. Is he going to make that transition?
That's right. He's on a transition road here to take the 110
north.
And it appears he's taking the 110 north here,
yep.
Yes.
So up through South Los Angeles, that would head you up towards the Coliseum into downtown LA. And any units on the freeway at all? Because now that he's on the freeway, CHP is going to pick this up as well.
I didn't see any. Oh, there they are.
There's a few right there.
They're about 15 car lengths back.
So CHP has been alerted for sure now that it has entered onto an interstate, part of their jurisdiction. So they're going to be called out, enforced through the South LA area. All the units nearby will hop on the freeway, perhaps hold traffic on the ramps and continue to track this. Northbound 110 freeway through South LA, up towards the Coliseum, up towards downtown Los Angeles. Pursuit now has entered the 105 and now 110 freeway here, having pretty much stayed on surface streets for the duration of the pursuit in and around the Compton area.
And if you're just joining us, I'm Vanessa Borge alongside Vince Mack and Sky Fox and Rick Diggard here in the Fox 11 studios. This is a police chase that started around 10:51 is when we first started hearing about the chase. It began in Compton. It was a carjacking suspect. That carjacking occurred, what we're hearing from LA County, on January 12th, and then police this morning spotted the car and began pursuing this suspect. He went through residential areas, and he even went through a gated community, a parking lot of a dollar store as well, endangering those around him. Police were pretty close behind, I would say, to the suspect's car, and then they got word to back off a bit, and that's why you're seeing them such a lengths away from the suspect right now.
And what about an airship, Vince? Is there still a sheriff's ship tracking him from above?
Yes, the sheriff's ship is right over the scene here. I don't know if I can see him in the shot, but he's right there. He is.
There he is, tracking him. You can see the Faith Dome there off into the distance. He'll be coming up on Manchester, then up towards Exposition, then the 10 freeway, and it's interesting. This is a suspect that's was able to evade those deputies in that narrow area, that one where he just did a 180 and came back, and there was no other officers to really box him in.
We are stuck where we are because of LAX airspace.
Right, so you're not able to get any closer to that angle. If you're wondering why Sky Fox right now is in this angle, they are in that airspace and aren't able to fly and get closer to the scene. But we are getting a perfect view right now and seeing him going much faster than the other vehicles now.
And if you pan the camera a bit up toward the right there, he was in the express lane, so he moved over from the far right, and now he is in the express lanes, which are typically lighter volume. And yep, they can cite him for driving in the express lane without the proper sensor device as well. You could see the signs there indicating that you do have to have those in your vehicle in order to drive through that area. But yeah, this is an area, and the air traffic at LAX, Vanessa, you could see the palm tree there. There's a strong easterly wind, and usually planes take off over the ocean. We all know it. We've taken off so many times from LAX, but because of this storm system, the center of that low pressure system is still off the coast, and the wind is blowing into that low pressure system, meaning there's an easterly wind, and aircraft always want to take off into the wind. And with that wind coming out of the east, they're taking off over the land, over Inglewood, over Hawthorne. We were up earlier this morning, and we could not make the transition for that reason, and again, Sky Fox is being held up at this time for that.
Right, and it looks like, Vince, you're trying to track down where the suspect is.
Yeah, when I pulled out to show the helicopter, I lost track of where the car was. I do believe.
Think that's it?
I'm not sure.
No.
That's not it. Too many gray cars here.
Are you making the transition up the northbound 110 right now, Vince? Just at a low low altitude east of the 110. It looks like, yeah, it looks like they're still able to make their way north. Skyfox, as you could see how miserable it is out there, wet and rainy.
Right.
And not seeing any units, though, behind him really anymore. We saw a couple of deputy sheriffs earlier, but now we're not even seeing that. But that sheriff's helicopter was still watching from above.
And this is right now the northbound 110.
Northbound 110 Harbor Freeway up through South L.A. We'll be approaching, again, the Coliseum, Exposition Park, up towards the 10 in downtown L.A. And then he has the options to get off the freeway here and make his way either to the east or westbound sides of the 10 freeway. So a lot of options for this suspect. Again, a carjacking suspect, an alleged carjacking that took place on Saturday. And it was just this morning that the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department were able to catch up with a vehicle. They lit him up, and he did not yield, and the pursuit was on. And it was on for a good time in surface streets, in and around Compton, where this pursuit was initiated. And because that is the jurisdiction of the L.A. County Sheriff's Department, that's why they are the lead agency on this pursuit. Now that the pursuit has entered onto the freeways, the CHP gets involved.
Getting off? Oh. Where?
Yeah, we're trying to locate the car because as soon as he got onto the 110, he was weaving in and out of cars and in that carpool lane as well, and lost the visual on him. So hopefully we're able to find him soon. And we're not seeing any cruisers either anywhere near. There we go. And there we have it. That is the suspect. Police are chasing the carjacking suspect, and we're hearing that he may be armed as well. This carjacking occurred with a firearm. May have used it during that carjacking. So police, of course, even that much more worried about the situation because he could be armed and very dangerous, clearly.
Yeah, certainly, and that definitely changes. I mean, every pursuit is dangerous, Vanessa. You just don't know what you're dealing with that suspect, the mental state that individual is in. If you're running from the police, first of all, that's not a good sign. But if you know that this individual is wanted for an alleged violent crime, then that makes it even more dangerous, obviously, with a weapon as well. Whether or not he still has the weapon that may have been used during that incident, that carjacking on Saturday, that's unclear at this time. But what's clear is he's been able to evade officers thus far, and as long as he stays out of custody, he's a happy guy. And that's why these guys run, because they feel that there is an opportunity for them to evade police and go back to their normal day. We see it every so often. 18% thereabouts of L.A. PD pursuits end in which the suspects are able to get away. But at times it's safety, it's public safety. Units will back off, as we see here, and they will just try to do whatever they can to protect the public when a suspect is driving so erratically, putting the public at such risk. All right, exiting the freeway, let's try to get an off-ramp here before the 10 freeway, northbound side on the 110 freeway, MLK Boulevard. He's getting off on MLK, so this is South LA. This is close to the Coliseum, Exposition Park. Again, slowing down, and he's got to see those units behind him now. You know, they're close. And you can see CHP, as I said, those are the units that are on that ramp right there. And now it'll be interesting to see if he gets a little more agitated, knowing that these officers are trailing him and trailing him closely. He got into the left lane, left turn lane. Nowhere to go right now because both lanes are occupied. There really isn't an area to squeeze through. And
he's been abiding by those traffic lights, actually, for the last 30 minutes or so. We've been watching him stop at red lights, and then police, of course, stay back to keep themselves and the public safe also.
Making a left, which would be a westbound turn on MLK, going underneath the 110 Harbor Freeway. So he's going to be heading in MLK, is an east-west thoroughfare through the city, and you can take this all the way over towards the west side of LA. Let's see it. He's going to just get right back on the freeway, perhaps. Is that a ramp? Vince, is he getting back on the south 110
Yes, it
now?
is.
Okay.
Yes, it is. He's heading back southbound.
Southbound on the 110 freeway, back to where he came. And we've seen this happen a couple of times where, and we've seen it a number of times with previous pursuits, that they get to a point like, I got to get back to where I know the area, and whether or not that's his frame of mind or not, unclear. But 110 freeway looks unusually light. I know it's midday, and the morning rush is long ended, and the afternoon is still a couple hours away from getting going. Rain continues to fall across the Southern California region. No brakes in sight, as you can see with our radar there, tracking this storm in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. And whenever you see those blips, those yellows, those oranges and reds, that's higher reflectivity. That means more intense rain is falling in that particular area. And there has been some moderate, occasionally heavy rain across the basin where this pursuit has been ongoing. Now southbound on the 110, coming away from MLK. It looks like he's got his hazards on, and those windows are tinted, as we've seen, which makes it a little bit more dangerous because you can't see what's going on. Exiting at 51st Street. That's a CHP unit now, so it looks like CHP may be the lead on this at this time, having entered the freeways. As I said, let's see, that's a good area to pit this guy, perhaps. There's no one up ahead, and he has slowed down a bit, but now he's backing off that CHP SUV. 51st Street, right in the heart of South LA. This is south of the Coliseum, south of Exposition Park. And he's still slowing down and abiding by the rules. He's got his flashers on.
And turning those corners cautiously, because he has to at this point with the weather conditions out there. You see how slick the roads are. He can hydroplane at any point.
That's right. And it's very unique to see him, to see his manner change, because the wet weather was not just crossing over Figueroa. Figueroa is a north-south there on the west side of the 110. He is heading westbound on 51st Street. Remember, all the numbered streets starting at 1st Street in downtown LA, going all the way to the 200s in the harbor area. And he is heading westbound through the South Los Angeles community. Now, this is definitely going to head Skyfox into LAX airspace yet again. And this is a residential area. There's a lot of foot traffic, even though it's wet. We'll see what he does on this major. Looks like he's stopping at the light. We'll see what that street is. I saw that blue sign. If that was Figueroa, then this would be...
He is taking that intersection. Rick, I want to make sure, for those that just joined us, you are watching an early edition of the Fox 11 News at noon. We are over a police chase right now. So this is by, last we heard, on the 110 southbound. He got off on 51st Street.
Now southbound on Vermont, it looks like. Southbound Vermont, it appears. So
and this is a carjacking suspect. Carjacking, we're hearing, allegedly happened on January 12th on Saturday. They spotted the car this morning, and they are now pursuing him. It began in Compton, has now gone through many residential streets, the 105, the 110, and now we're here in this area, and you could see him going through these wet streets, a dangerous situation, going through traffic lights now. Yeah,
this makes it more challenging yet again.
But hang on, I'll have to look at a sign.
It looks like it's Vermont. If you can confirm that, Vince. It appeared that it was Vermont, that he made a left or southbound turn. So he's heading south, and this would take him back towards the 105 freeway. This, all those streets, Broadway, Main, Figueroa, they all parallel the 110 freeway up through South Los Angeles, and widen out just a bit. Maybe we'll see. Now he's making a right turn.
And you saw people right there on the corner. So this is potentially dangerous, and luckily he hasn't been picking up speed in the last few minutes.
Slowing down now a little bit again, and he's got to see those units behind him. He is now heading back westbound. I think he was on Normandy, southbound on Normandy, if I read the sign correctly there. So heading through South LA, surface streets here, mixed residential again for the most part, and units from the CHP and the LA County Sheriff's Department were trailing them. We'll see if CHP's pulled off now that they're off the freeway. But LAPD's got to be getting involved as well. Westbound on Slauson, which is a busy street here. You're going to see some strip malls, some fast food restaurants like the McDonald's there on the corner. This is well west now of the 105, heading westbound on Slauson, which would take him into the community of Inglewood.
And again, we're seeing those slick conditions. You're watching the radar on the right bottom side of your screen. So it is quite a downpour in some spots.
And he's picking up speed now.
Right, and now he's picking up speed, and it could really be dangerous. And it seemed like he knew where he was earlier in some of those streets. He went through a gated community and was able to evade those officers.
Yeah, making that 180, and the deputy sheriffs were just lined up on the one side. He was able to do the 180 and squeeze right back through.
And we're hearing he may have exited out through those spike strips that usually is supposed to stop you from going in and out of a gated community that you don't have access to. So we're hearing he might have gone and driven over those spike strips. So maybe some tires blown out. We hope, of course, to maybe impede his speed a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, at this time, I don't see that, but that's all the reports we're getting then. And if he did drive over those, it's very likely there had to have been some damage to the automobile. And again, now that the pursuit has been going on for some time, you start to think about how much gas was in that vehicle when the pursuit started. and if that comes into play. All we do know is that this is a potentially armed and dangerous suspect, a carjacking suspect. That incident occurred on Saturday, still being pursued here. And it looks like CHP is still the lead, that lead SUV vehicle, tracking him very closely now. So they're getting a little bit more aggressive, making a hard right turn, almost narrowly hit that other sedan at the intersection. Now we're going to see if he's going to pit this guy right now. Off to on the lower left there, you see
he's getting
closer. And he just against traffic there, all over surface streets here in the numbered streets in South LA. And he's really picking up speed. Again, you see the officers as they get closer. The driver gets more agitated, and this is where it is so dangerous. People walking across these residential streets.
We just saw someone trying to get into their driveway just a second ago, and him driving around.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, right through that big ponding of water. As I said, at the intersections, that's where it tends to collect on surface streets, outer lanes, on the freeway. And given a rainy, cool day here in Southern California, hopefully that is limiting the pedestrian traffic. And whether or not he knows where he's going or is just driving aimlessly through all these surface streets in South LA, unclear at this time.
And these are tight streets. We're seeing parked cars on either side.
Both sides. You can't get through.
And he's squeezing through either side of those cars.
That's right. It's a two-way street, but it's challenging to get through those streets. And now making another turn, and we'll see what that CHP officer's tracking him close. If he gets the opportunity to spin him out, again, if there's not much traffic up ahead, he's pulling off to the right. Is he pulling over? Let's see what he's doing here. Nope, continuing on. He's playing that cat and mouse with these officers, and there's somebody out walking their dog there, and still a lot of vehicular traffic. We'll try to get a location here from.
And you're seeing the ponding as well. So he's taking these corners, which are now inundated because of the rain from overnight and this morning. And so it's that much more dangerous for these officers as well.
No question. And they're taking that into account. You could see there was a CHP officer on the opposing side of that street here. This South LA neighborhood is mixed, just like you see, a residential. There's a little bit of industrial and commercial in this area. It looks like he could be heading back northbound. Vince, do we have a location?
Yeah, he is heading northbound at this moment. He turned off a 54th. I'm not exactly sure what we're crossing. Well, here we know. He just crossed Slauson.
Okay, coming up past Slauson now, heading northbound through South LA.
Whoa.
Oh, over just missed that vehicle and over the medium there. Not divided by an island there. It looks like it is there now.
And you're seeing everyone getting out of the way. They're hearing those police sirens. They're seeing the flashing red and blue, and they are getting out of the way, which they need to, because this is definitely a manic driver just taking these corners.
Yeah, and a good time to remind everybody, it goes without saying, that if you ever are in a situation like this and you see something like this coming up behind you, give the officers plenty of space. You don't know what they're dealing with in terms of how dangerous that suspect is. You don't want to harm yourself, put the officers in any more danger than they already are. Their adrenaline's high. They want to bring this to an end. They want to keep the public safe. That's what they swore to, and they're trying to do so by getting an alleged bad guy off the street right now and keep everybody on the streets during this pursuit safe as well.
And keep yourself safe by making sure, I know I do this all the time, I make sure I just pause for a second on those, even if I have the right of way of a stop sign, a four-way stop, even if I do have the right of way, you still want to pause, because we've seen too many times, you know, in these pursuits, especially here in Southern California, where they are so common. You really need to be careful, because he has almost hit a number of people in intersections, because obviously he's not abiding by the rules of the road.
Trying to get away.
Right.
He's not in custody now, and he's been able to evade officers this long, and he thinks he can continue to do so and maybe have a chance to get out of that vehicle, get on foot and hide out, and hopefully not go to jail today. He's being written up for a number of violations for his reckless driving, in addition, obviously, to the most serious crime, the alleged incident, the carjacking, which took place on Saturday. So through South LA, this is a major north-south street. Western?
Yeah.
Western. Heading northbound on Western, which would take them all the way north up towards, the Mid-City area, Harvard Heights, the area to the west of downtown Los Angeles. We'll see if he continues on this path. I think if he has an open roadway, it's hard to get into the minds of these suspects to see what their plan is, and their main plan is to stay away from police and stay out of jail.
And it looks like the roadway right now is very calm. We're not seeing too many cars, so at least there's that, because he is going at a pretty high rate of speed in these residential areas.
This is an L.A. USD area. It's unclear if that's having much of an impact on the volume on the streets. I do know that on wet, dreary, cold days like this in L.A., people like to stay hunkered down if they can and are not out and about. That's why we're not seeing as much traffic, either vehicular or pedestrian traffic through this area. Northbound on Western, heading up through South L.A. The incident started in Compton. That's where the pursuit started. They caught up with this alleged carjacking suspect, possibly with a firearm. A firearm was possibly used during that incident. The pursuit was on, and it was on surface streets for some time, and now it made its way onto the 105 and 110 freeways, and he exited the 110 freeway, and there he goes. He had a red light there. He stopped again, Vanessa.
Yeah, it's erratic behavior, really, because at some red lights, he'll stop, he'll wait for the light, and police are trying to be as cautious as possible, and they'll kind of back away, and there'll be a few car lengths behind him. And then in other intersections, he blows right through it. So really erratic behavior here. Some moments he'll go below the speed limit. Some moments he'll book it. So it's really unclear what his choices are here. Nothing is consistent. What is consistent is that police have been chasing him since about 10:45 this morning, and he has been able to evade them. Yeah,
about an hour. And again, we start to think about gas, how much gas is in this vehicle. You think about the public safety as these officers are. CHP joined in once the pursuit went on the 105 freeway westbound and then transitioned to the 110 freeway. He exited the 110, but then got right back on, but in a different direction, southbound. And you can see there is a pedestrian, umbrella in hand, crossing through that intersection there, pulling into an alley now, a tight alley. And we'll see what happens here with this suspect. Again, it's an alleged carjacking suspect.
And I wonder if he knows this area, considering he just went into a street that it could be, blocked off, and then he's stuck.
Yeah, it's possible. And I know that this part of the basin, as we fly through, we transition. This is part of the Bravo, the LAX Bravo, as we call it, the airspace there. So we're having to shoot it at an angle to a degree, the pursuit here. And we're not seeing much movement right now, so it may have...
Are we seeing the cruisers anywhere? There they are.
And it looks like something's going on at that intersection right there. Oh, that's the suspect right there, coming southbound there. I believe he did a 180. Now he's heading south. Go back to the wide now. Go to the right, Vince. It appears that he was heading southbound. Right there. Keep going right.
Keep going
pan right. Pan right and widen out.
There we go.
I believe is that him right there. If you push in, maybe not.
No, I don't think that's him.
Yeah.
He went into that street, and then police looped around. If you could see any of those cruisers, Vince. And that's what I mean. Look how tight. Oh, there we go.
There we go. All right, guns are drawn.
Oh,
wow, he's taking off his clothes. He's taking off. And he's getting strict orders from that, and now he's got his hands up.
All right, it looks like...
Or is it a female? I can't tell if that's a male or a female.
We're hearing that it is a woman.
It is a woman.
She's her hands
walking
backwards.
She's doing what she's told. And we don't know if there was another individual in the vehicle, if there was just the sole occupant, the driver. But the pursuit stopped. And
luckily coming to a safe end. Hopefully nobody else was in that vehicle. As far as we know, we don't.
Yeah, there's the vehicle right there, and the doors are both shut.
I think it's in the alleyway.
Oh, the vehicle's in the alleyway, so that car, that gray car there is...
All right. It looks like this is coming finally to an end, an hour later. And coming to a peaceful end, thankfully.
Yeah, we haven't heard of anybody being injured, but we saw a lot of erratic behavior by that
a lot of close calls,
too. A lot of close calls, and hopefully we'll find out that nobody was hurt. But a female suspect being detained, an alleged carjacking suspect. Carjacking took place on Saturday. The pursuit started in Compton, and this female suspect now being taken into custody. So we believe, as Vince said, that in the alleyway is where the suspect's vehicle is. Maybe we can get a peek there. That other gray tinted out vehicle, I guess, is belongs to somebody else.
And we've been watching this for about 45 minutes to about an hour. Skyfox has been over this scene, weaving in and out of streets. He jumped on, or she rather, jumped on the 105 and then the 110 north and then south, getting off on 51st Street. It has been quite an hour just watching this car stop and go. At some points, she would stop at traffic lights. Other points, she would just ram right through it. And that was the scary moments that we're seeing her weaving in and out of traffic. And then, of course, on top of that, the story we've been talking about all day, that's why you're seeing your radar on the right bottom-hand side of your screen, is because of the weather. So that's what we were most terrified about throughout this entire chase, was what happens if somebody is injured, that suspect spins out and then hits someone else, because we've seen a number of residents in the area. But luckily, right now we're seeing this coming to a peaceful end. Looks like she got out of her vehicle, and they are putting her away now, putting her in handcuffs. So alongside Vince Mack and Rick Dickard, and now joined by my colleague Alex Michelson. This is an earlier edition of the Fox 11 News at noon. And we do want to do an update on the weather as well, Rick, because that was certainly an issue here within this chase, and an issue for everybody in Southern California.
It certainly was, and continues to be so. Good morning now, almost after.
Skyfox, anybody hear me on the ground? Yeah, the LAX air traffic's kicking us out of here. We're down too low in their airspace. They're making us get out. Yeah, we'll go over toward the 110.